So, the Arcane Cannon, the newest eyesore in Era 2. Getting straight to the point, the Arcane is a average, borderline above average premium tank destroyer. It's well balanced, and what the gun lacks in Alpha, it makes up for with its ATGMs. With the recent changes to the game, the Arcane really is a traditional tank destroyer. That's how it has to play, that's the role it now fits in the game. It is a traditional tank destroyer. Cannon shots need to be fully aimed, and the ATGM needs to be utilised as much as possible to make up for the lack of DPM that the cannon has got. The real issue with this tank, though, is the skin. It is disgusting. It's out of place, and in my opinion, it shows just how out of touch wargaming are with the community and the theme of their game. The tank itself, like I've said, is borderline, above average. It's borderline worth getting, but the skin makes it completely undesirable, and I cannot believe the game has stooped this low. In my opinion, it's an absolute disgrace, this skin, and it shows a complete lack of respect to the military content of the game. And with a price tag of 10,400 gold, it's clear that Wargaming have absolutely no shame in selling the community high quality garbage. So should you buy the Arcane? Absolutely not. No. I do not recommend anybody financially supports content of this nature. Alright, well, that's all I'm going to say about it. We're not going to talk about that again. With that out of the way, it's fair to say that this tank is comparable to the premium Era 2 tank destroyer, the Wolverine. It's not exactly the same. The Arcane has a turret, the Wolverine does not have a turret, so there are some differences. But from a comparison point of view, that's the closest we have got. So, the Arcane has 389mm of pen on standard rounds, 446mm on gold, and 100mm on secondary. Standard and gold will do an average of 360 alpha, while secondary will do an average of 470. The Wolverine has 367mm of pen on standard, 451mm on gold, and 250mm on secondary. Gold and standard will do an average of 480, while secondary will do an average of 590. So between these two tanks, the pen values are close, but there is a huge difference in their average alphas. Both vehicles have ATGMs. The Arcane's ATGM has an average of, well, not an average, it has 800mm of pen, so it will do an average of 800, depending on RNG. And its average RNG roll for alpha is 900. The Wolverine is slightly different because it fires a salvo of 2 ATGMs at a time, each of which has 450mm of pen, and each will do 300 alpha. So total 600 for the Wolverine alpha ATGMs, 900 for the Arcane. So what the Arcane lacks in gun alpha, it makes up for an ATGM alpha. So it's sort of balanced in that respect. The Arcane has 2400 hit points, the Wolverine has 2600 hit points. Unboosted, the Arcane will max out at 64 km an hour, the Wolverine will max out at 60 km an hour, but it's also important to note that the Wolverine can do 50 km an hour backwards. I think the Arcane is around 24 or something. The Arcane has 570 meters of view range, Wolverine has 530 meters, and finally the moving and still concealment of the Arcane is 393 meters and 321 meters, while the Wolverine has 382 meters and 304 meters respectively. An interesting side note on the concealment of the Arcane is that it is, well, since it's essentially an up-gunned charioteer, it has the same concealment values as the charioteer. And with that being the foundation for this tank, it's easy to understand why the Arcane has such poor armor. The armor model for the Arcane is not identical to the Charioteer. The 3D skin does add layers of armor, but nothing that makes enough of a difference for it to be worth talking about. It's not a selling point for the Arcane, this extra armor. It's not going to help you. If you get caught out in the Arcane by either an auto cannon or even a regular cannon, you know, we're talking Leopards here, the American M60s, you're not likely to come out on top. This tank is a traditional tank destroyer, and it should be played like one. And here is my crew and equipment setup for what you've been seeing me play so far. Something else I noticed about the gun on the Arcane is that its accuracy is terrible when not fully aimed. Shots will go everywhere, including outside of the aim reticle, which again is a wargaming issue that needs to be fixed. I don't know if they are going to fix it. So keep that in mind if you are considering buying this tank. Finally then, let's take a look at the economy stats for the Arcane. It's got a 65% silver boost, 10% tank XP boost, 5% free XP boost, and a 10% crew XP boost. The 65% silver boost is good, and that shows us that Wargaming are aware that this tank is potentially an underperformer, so they've given it that silver boost just to sweeten the deal a little bit, because they know its performance. Well, the gun is okay, ATGMs are good, but the armor, yeah, I think the 65% silver boost is there to just try and pick up the lack of armor that this tank has. Okay folks, that is all I've got for this one. So if you've enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, if not a dislike, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one.